You know, in the practice of creating a vision, one of the most important things is the ability to see, as Stephen Covey would put it, the end from the beginning. And you always begin with the end in mind when creating a vision. But what does that mean when you look in the mirror and despise the person that's looking back at you? What does that mean when all the things you've heard about you all of your life tell you that you're a failure? You can never succeed. You can't accomplish the things that you have in your heart to accomplish. You're not capable. You're not able. You're not worthy. It's not possible for you. The old phrase is anybody can be president in America. And then immediately it's followed by, with the right hard work and the right education and the right training and the right practices and the right friends and the right influence and the right amount of money. And the list goes on and on and on. And here's the reality that sets in for most people. While I may be capable of being the president, the opportunity for me to be the president isn't real because of all of these conditions that follow behind it. See, there's this constant tension between the vision as leaders that we not only hold for ourselves, but that we create for our organization, for our family, for our training team, for our company, for our country. And that vision may be established in a way that we say, these are the things that we're going to accomplish. The challenge with task-oriented vision development is that you only see that vision as those tasks come into play. And there's not necessarily an emotional attachment to that. And there's no real answer for where do I fit in that vision. When we talk about how you see you, which is a whole chapter in Live a More Excellent Life, how you see you changes everything. If your perception of yourself isn't connected to your purpose in life, the why that you're here, then the vision that you have of you, the perspective that you have of you, the image that you have of you is disconnected from everything else that you do. It's fragmented. It's disintegrated. And it's real easy to be caught up in the caterpillar memory rather than the butterfly life. If you remember our conversation from yesterday, the metamorphosis has already taken place. You're living on the changed side of life. But if you're a young man or a young woman who has been abused in the past, who is still attached to the wounds from the father or the wounds from the mother or the wounds of abuse or the wounds of neglect, if those memories are still holding on to you so tightly, then even as a butterfly, those memories may anchor you and keep you from flying. You may spend your butterfly life acting like a caterpillar, not like what you've been transformed into. And if the vision of you in your mind doesn't see you flying, how you see you changes everything. If the perspective that you have of your life isn't an aerial view as a butterfly looking down on those things that you have mastered and conquered, moving from one situation to another because you found the ability to rise above it, if your perspective isn't an aerial view, you may still have caterpillar memories in a butterfly life. It's hard to lead that way. It's really hard to lead that way. It's hard to lead yourself that way. It's even harder to lead others that way. And if you find yourself still holding on to the past memories, the past regrets, the past abuses, the past injustices, if you live there, flight isn't happening. And if you live there, your ability to lead others to flight isn't happening. Picture yourself for a moment as the butterfly with the ability and the power and the swiftness to simply launch back and rise above all of the challenges and all of the problems, to get out of the midst of the circumstances of your daily life, to find yourself living in a new world. And then imagine yourself among other butterflies who have done the same. How would you feel if that one you cared the most about was the butterfly still on the ground? And as you rose up and the wind caught you and began to take you to other places and other opportunities and new parts of life, as your perspective changes and you see the world from another view, how hurt would you be to see the one you care most about still clinging to the ground out of fear of flight? Because the memories of the past hold them in a caterpillar mindset. It happens every day. We don't perform to our highest level because we hang on to yesterday. We won't let go of what we once were in order to become who we are now. The transformation has taken place. We're not caterpillars anymore. The opportunity to lead is in front of you. There are people around you who desire your influence. I heard a gentleman not too long ago talking about the difference between a kingdom and a colony, between a citizen of a democracy and a citizen of a colony. And he made some really powerful observations about how we imitate where we come from. Butterflies all tend to do similar things, even though they're all different. Butterflies may have the same shape, but they have different colors and different breeds and different types. But their behavior is very similar because they're of the flight kingdom, not the crawling kingdom. Oh, they can still walk and climb up the side of a tree and land on a flower and walk from branch to branch or petal to petal. But basically, they're flying kingdom creatures. Do you see yourself that way? Do you have a vision of you that includes rising above the circumstances and flying through the air from one opportunity to another? That's a huge difference. And how you perform in your life, the risks that you're willing to take, the places that you're willing and able to go, the places you're willing to lead others are all tied to, do you see yourself crawling on the ground in the dust of the earth, or do you see yourself as capable of more, created for more, designed for more purpose, for more flight, for more travel? How do you see you? How do you project your image of yourself and your image of others? Do you see yourself and the people who surround you, the team, the family? Do you see them all as capable of flight? Or like the crabs in a barrel, you're more likely to grab them and pull them down because you're not ready to fly? See, how you see you doesn't only impact your life. It may impact the life and liberty and freedom of people around you as well. If you feel like you're not ready yet to fly, you may prevent others from flying. You may clip their wings. You may change their image. You may tell them stories of how frightful it is to be out there flying around when the ground is what's stable. I hope you're staying with this metaphor, but you can also see it in your workplace. Have you ever been in the workplace where the immediate supervisor above you does everything they can to keep you from succeeding? Not because they would even willingly say out loud, I don't want you to succeed, but because they fear their own success going to the next level. Or they fear that your success may pass them by. Perhaps you've been the leader who has someone added to your team, and you look at them on your team and you're like, wow, I can't really manage them or handle them because they're so much smarter or faster or better at this project, or they have better insights or better understanding or better connections. They know people I don't know. Have you ever tried to manage someone who is directly related to your boss? See, all of those dynamics begin to come into play, and it's very similar to the metaphor of the butterfly and the caterpillar. Do you remember what it was like to only be able to crawl? So much that you forget what it's like to fly. Do you perceive yourself in such a way that any other butterfly that comes along is a challenge to your own identity because you only remember being a caterpillar? how you see you, how you choose to see you, how you live out the perspective that you have of you changes everything. It changes the way you lead. It changes the vision that you have for yourself and your organization. It changes how you follow. Because if you're a caterpillar memory and a pack of butterflies, are they called packs? I don't know if they're called packs or not. What is a group of butterfly? A horde? I don't know. But if you're the only one in that group with the caterpillar memory who lives as though you can only crawl, they will fly off without you. But who might you be holding back? Who would refuse to leave you behind? How you see you changes everything. As you're working to create your vision for this new year, I want to challenge you to ask yourself that question. How do I see me? Do I see myself as capable, as worthy, as powerful? Do I see myself as willing to make the changes necessary to live out the vision of purpose for my life? Do I see my purpose and myself living in it? If these are questions that challenge you, get a coach. Sit down with someone face to face that you can ask those questions to, or who will ask those questions of you and work with you until you get those answers in a way that you can write them down and say, this is what I see. And I'm going to tell you, it's a challenge sometimes, because you're going to find that there are things that you're willing to say once, but not yet convinced you believe them. There are things about yourself that you're willing to say, I want to see that in my life, and yet if every day walking out means saying it again, you might be a little uncomfortable with that. That's why a coach isn't a one-day thing. Having a coach it's a relationship, and it's going to take time to build, and it's going to take time to build you. You've got to be willing to see you differently if you really want to see life change. I'm J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. Oh, by the way, make sure you share this link for others who might be interested in the Leading Leaders podcast. You can find that on iTunes podcast, and it will download automatically every day.